the challenges in measuring price changes. So the CPI tends to overstate inflation because of the following biases: substitution bias, quality bias, new product bias, and outlet bias. Substitution bias is basically people do not always buy the same items every year. We know the market basket is fixed. So, if the relative prices change, consumers buy less of the relatively more expensive items and more of the relatively cheaper items. CPI keeps the market basket fixed, so it does not account for substitution towards cheaper goods. For example, if the price of chicken increased by 10% and the price of beef increased by 20% the same year, chicken and beef are substitutes. Therefore, consumers will reduce the consumption of beef and substitute by the consumption of more chicken. CPI methodology assumes that the consumer will continue to buy the same quantities of chicken and beef. As a result, there is an upward substitution bias, and consumers are overcompensated if their incomes are adjusted for inflation using CPI. Quality bias. Over time, products improve, so an increase in price can partially be attributed to the increase in quality. BLS tries to estimate the Bureau of Labor Statistics tries to estimate the effects of improvements, but it is difficult to measure. CPI counts too much of any prices rise as inflation and so overstates inflation. New product bias. Market basket in 2014 is not the same as it was in 1984. Every year, new products become available, for example, cell phones, computers, and some old disappear, like vinyl records or photographic films. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics tries to compare the price of listening to recorded music. However, the quality of sound has improved over time. New products are not introduced into the index immediately. The price of the new product falls dramatically in the first years before it becomes the part of the market basket. This price drop is not reflected in the CPI. Outlet bias. Outlet bias is when the consumer shifts to new outlets such as wholesale clubs like Sam's or Costco and online retailers like Amazon is not well represented by the CPI. The same effect as substitution bias, but in this case consumers buy the same goods but at discounted prices while the CPI counts prices without discounts. Solutions. Frequent updates of the basket, but it is very, very hard for the Bureau of Labor Statistics to frequently update their statistics, so it is not consistent.